In the heart of London, 1888, where shadows walked like men and silence buried the truth. They called him Jack, but the name was only a mask. The real horror hid behind the gaslight, in the stitched-up mouths of forgotten women. The fog curled through the cobbled streets of Whitechapel like a serpent, silent, watchful, hungry. This is not just a story of blood. It's a story of voices, lost, stolen, and one woman who dared to speak. Past Whispers presents Fog over Whitechapel. Before the letter, before the name, Jack carved itself into history. There was Mary. She smiled through tired eyes, then vanished into the fog. No one came looking, except me. Evelyn Hart didn't belong here, and she knew it. She wasn't a seamstress, though the calluses forming on her fingers told a different story. She was a writer, ink-stained and doggedly curious. The murders had caught the public's imagination like fire to dry parchment. But to Evelyn, it wasn't the horror that mattered. It was the silence that followed, the kind of silence that buried women quietly after the world had already forgotten them. So she came to find their voices. Instead, she began losing her own. Mary Ann Nichols had eyes that were always tired, even when she smiled. Evelyn met her once at the corner of Buck's Row, laughing over tea they couldn't afford. The next morning, Evelyn saw her face in the headlines. Only it wasn't her face anymore. It was what remained. The police muttered about gangs, lunatics, shadows. The East End muttered about demons. The deeper I wrote, the tighter the noose of secrets. Police dismissed it, but the shadows, they were reading too. But Evelyn, she listened for the whispers underneath. In morgues and alleyways, she took notes nobody asked her to write. Names the world wanted to forget. Keep your head down, warned the other girls. Evelyn didn't. Then came the letter. Dear Miss Hart, you write so beautifully. I wonder, how would you sound if your throat were gone? Yours truly, Jack. Inspector Alaric Moore had eyes like old paper, creased, unreadable. He disliked Evelyn immediately. You're meddling in business not meant for women, he said. And you're failing the women you're meant to protect, she replied. That earned her an enemy and an ally in the same breath. Together, reluctantly, they followed a trail of organs and riddles through twisted hospitals, private clubs, and whispers of a surgical society that met under flickering gaslight. Each clue deepened the nightmare, and Evelyn began to see what no one dared say. Perhaps Jack the Ripper wasn't a man. Perhaps he was a myth used to mask something far worse. When they found Catherine Eddowes, her body opened like a page in a macabre book. Evelyn wept, not because she hadn't seen worse, she had, but because of the message carved near her body. I cut what they try to stitch shut. Lies, guilt, history. That night, Evelyn dreamed of a hospital ward filled with faceless women, stitched silent. When she woke, her own mouth was bleeding. The truth, she realized, would not just cost her her job. It might cost her identity, her sanity, her soul. They cornered the killer in the catacombs of London's oldest hospital, a network of tunnels and surgical theaters long forgotten by the living. Evelyn held her lantern high and saw not a monster, but a woman in a bloodied nurse's uniform. They called her a monster. But monsters don't hide in tunnels. They wear uniforms. They sign orders. They get away with it. It was always me, said the woman, soft as dusk. But I'm just a whisper. There are others. You're chasing wind. The knife fell, but not into Evelyn. She returned above ground a scarred hero, but one no one believed. The paper printed someone else's version. Alaric left the yard. The murders stopped, but the silence deepened. I survived. I told the truth, and they rewrote the ending anyway. So she wrote her own book. Not for fame, not for vengeance, but so the voices wouldn't be buried again. They were more than victims. They were voices. And now, you've heard one whisper back. Subscribe to Past Whispers for the stories buried in silence. Jack vanished into fog, but history's shadows still breathe. Follow Past Whispers, because the past isn't done speaking. She wrote so they wouldn't be erased. Now we remember so they won't be alone. Join the echo. Join Past Whispers.